Is taking a closer look at how food costs are shifting.
Yeah, it's not fun. From pantry staples to fresh produce, we're tracking what's going up, what's going down, and also how much consumers are paying weekly. Joining us now, CBS News Vice President of Data Journalism, John Kelly. John, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
All right, so first, could you walk us through how much prices have gone up, let's say since 2022, 3 years ago?
Sure. I mean, grocery prices, as everyone at home recognizes, are up significantly, 18% from just back to 2022.
Wow.
Which is outpacing inflation for other items by quite a bit, and it's really obviously impacting a lot of families and their budgeting.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to talk to you to actually put numbers to this, because I think we all feel these prices rising. And then based on what you buy each week, people have different conversations. But you're giving us the real numbers. When we talk about what items we're seeing rising costs, eggs obviously dominate the conversation. I think I've heard people talking about ground beef. But what items are actually seeing the highest increase?
Yeah, I tell you, right now, meat has been one of the primary areas. And, so you're seeing things like sirloin steak being up $4 a pound in just a couple of years, and ground beef being up a couple dollars a pound, and even chicken being up almost $1 a pound. And that really, starts to get at those staples that are the centerpiece of, your grocery basket and your family meal planning. And it really starts to add up when you also add in the smaller increases around fruits and vegetables and bread and sugar. And, you get to the point where, when you start adding this up, it really can become significant money for people. Coffee, $4 a pound in just a couple of years.
I mean, you're not wrong. When I go to the grocery store, I'm a meat eater. I love steak.
Right.
I'll look at the price of steak and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to put that away, and then I'll get a pork chops or something because it's a little cheaper, but just as good. But I want you to put into perspective, what families are paying at checkout per week, because it's expensive, especially for these families that are struggling just to pay rent.
Right. I mean, everybody's family is different, right? But like, if you think about it as, say your grocery cart, your weekly trip to the grocery store is a couple of $100. That's $200 in 2022 would cost you $236 a week now. You're talking about $150 over the course of a month, right? That's starting to eat into your other, your ability to pay your car payment and your electric bill and your rent or your mortgage. It's a significant amount of money. And a lot of people's grocery bill is more than that. And so you've got a lot of people playing that, if, not this, but that kind of game with their groceries, like you mentioned, right? Where you're saying, well, I guess we'll choose to eat this instead, or make this sort of meal instead, so that we can try to turn that knob down a little bit on the bill as much as we can.
Yeah, those are the conversations people are having. So let's give some positive news. Is there anything they can focus on where prices are falling or stabilizing at least?
You mentioned eggs earlier, and they're still incredibly high compared to a few years ago, but they have been ticking down. You'll remember that they had gotten to $6 a dozen or above, and depending on where you lived, in some places, $7 and $8, and they've eased back down. And even some of these items that are up fairly significantly have been easing back in the last few weeks and months. And so you're seeing bread come down a little bit, spaghetti and macaroni come down a little bit, and ease back down, but it's still quite a bit more expensive than before. Overall, food, again, up 18% over that 3-year period. It's been actually easing back to where year over year in recent, in the most recent data, food is rising at about 2.6% a year, and inflation itself is at 3% per year. Now, listen, people don't think about that when they're thinking about their groceries, right?
Right.
We're all thinking about, gosh, it's just so much more than it was a couple of years ago. But it seems like there might be some easing, but it's very small.
Okay, well, John, thank you so much. We appreciate all of these numbers.
You're very welcome.